Welcome back to another episode of Surprise Mama,
where we talk about the shit they don't tell you.
Welcome to the Surprise Mama podcast,
where we talk about the shit that they don't tell you.
That is what we talk about. We've had a few episodes now under our belts. Last week, what did we talk about?
Last week, we talked about deciding to have kids or the decision to have children. We shared our stories and just talked through a number of factors that influence whether people have children or not. Go back and listen to it because that was one of our favorite conversations.
Yeah. It was a really good conversation.
Yeah. And speaking of the recap of last week, notice Ashley's shirt.
We brought up, for some reason it came up that I have worn my daughter's shirt, and I just wanted to point out, this is the daughter's shirt I was talking about.
And I was like, does she fit in that?
It's a little big.
Okay. I just did not know what to imagine.
Yeah,
I was having a really hard time.
It's not like a 3-month shirt. It's like a 3T.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's Lord of the Rings, which is my favorite.
Yes.
So that's why I've stolen it from her until she actually fits into it.
I love that. Well, quick sidebar.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to children's clothing sizes,
I can't.
I have on our list to do a full episode on that because literally their sizing, so confusing.
And
brands, when you say 3T, I still don't know what that means.
I was at Target the other day trying to buy her clothes, and I was texting 2 of my friends who have older kids than my daughter, and I was like, what size do I buy?
What do I do?
This means nothing to me.
So literally when I was setting up my daughter's nursery, I remember Googling, because I have a label maker.
Yeah,
I label everything. But I had a label maker, and I was trying to do 0 to 3 or 3 to 6. And I was like, what's the difference between 0 to 3 and 3 month? We're going to talk about that later. But anyways, I digress.
So okay, the other clothing thing I want to bring up is I have been wearing these sandals. Okay, I got these when I was pregnant. They saved my life. They're amazing. My other friend told me about them.
And when
they're on it. Yes. Yeah. Molly, they're okay. Molly thinks they're cute. I think they're atrocious. But
they're Barbie core.
Well, they had different colors. Anyways, if you are pregnant, if you are planning on getting pregnant, or you just want shoes to walk around your house, get these. They're amazing. Amazon, I'll put the link in the description.
Do they help with lower back pain?
I think so.
Oh, nice. Cushy.
I'm just throwing that up because Molly brought them up tonight, and I
literally walked through Ashley's front door and I spilled my water everywhere because I was staring at her shoes. Oh, your shoes are so cute.
I felt like I needed to bring them up because I had a lot of my other friends who were pregnant at the same time as me. I told them about it. They got them and they love them. So
you didn't tell me.
Well, I forgot.
Yeah, she forgot. That's okay. I'll get them next time maybe if I have another kid.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways. Ashley, what are we talking about this week?
Oh my gosh. Prenatal visits.
Ooh.
So kind of this whole spectrum of them. There's
range.
A lot of them. If you have been pregnant, if you are currently pregnant, there's quite a few of them. I mean, they start off slow in the beginning and they really ramp up near the end.
You're just seeing your doctor all the time. I saw my doctor more than my friends.
Oh, 1,000%. And at a certain point, I was like, my OB and I are best friends. And then,
sorry, can I have another sidebar?
Yes.
I loved my OB so much. I really, really wish that she and I could be friends in real life. I'm actually sad and disappointed that I am her patient because I can't be friends with her, but she's so cool. She was
That's how I feel about mine.
We just Ryan and I just loved her. Yeah. We loved our visits because she was just so chill and she was so cool.
And then you see them near the end of your pregnancy, you see them a lot.
Oh yeah.
And then after you have your child, you do not see them.
You are dismissed. They have broken up with you.
It is
it's kind of devastating.
So sad. I almost wanted to make up an excuse to see her more, and I'm I just can't pay for that.
Well, I remember really trying to think through, do you think I could ask her for her number, or if she wanted to hang out? And I was hey doc, if I go out of network and get on my husband's insurance, can we hang out?
Can you not be?
But I was but what if she rejects me?
Can you not be friends with your doctor? It's
I think so.
That's stupid.
Or maybe if we're not a patient anymore, she could be a friend of mine.
But I'm with you though. Anywho, that is
I hope she listens to this someday. I doubt she knows it exists, but like if she does, I love you, lady.
I think just if you
like find me on the internet and let's be
like, I just hope for your sake, like as the listener, for your sake, you have a good relationship with your OB, because I feel like it just helps so much, because again, you see them a lot.
Yeah, and I will say, if you don't have a good relationship with your OB, or you kind of just like feel on the fence, or you're like, this is sort of, I don't know, it just doesn't feel very natural, deal with that now.
Yeah.
Like if you're at an OB's office, or you're just not happy with that relationship, but you're trying to get pregnant, or you're like thinking about a family, make that adjustment ahead of time, because you really do spend a lot of time with this person, and you want them to agree with like your approach to birth, and you want your personalities to mesh well if you have that ability.
And like personally, I was very comfortable with my OB because she has 2 kids of her own. And so for me, I really wanted a female OB who had kids, because she would know exactly what I was talking about. Like if I said this thing feels weird, or this, I don't know, I'm not quite sure about this, she's like, oh yeah, that happened to me. Like you know, there's kind of
relatable.
So relatable. I really like that.
Yeah.
But so prenatal visits, there's a lot of them. I think the one thing, so we're talking about surprises. The one thing that shocked me, and I was pre-warned. I'm not like saying I did not know about this. My friend told me about this. She said, so your first appointment, they do not do a belly ultrasound. They do a vaginal ultrasound. And I even Googled, I'm going to put a photo up so everybody can see this. I even Googled what this thing looked like.
It's like this tiny little, it's long.
It's not tiny. What? It's thin. It's like a curling iron. It's like a curling wand.
It's like a thin little curling wand.
Anywho,
that we all used a lot of at like the early 2000s when we were trying to crimp our hair.
But I Googled this. I looked it up, and you're like, okay, I get it. But it does not prepare you.
Were you just like nervous when you saw it? Like what shocked you about it?
It has girth to it. Like it's not like a pencil.
There's so many things I want to say right now that I literally cannot say on the internet.
It's long and it has girth. Okay. And I'm like,
stop saying girth.
And then I just did not think, because it just really has to go in there.
You were not prepared for the internal ultrasound experience is what you're saying.
And my husband was there for that appointment. So you're
it's the first ultrasound.
They bring this wand out that has girth and length to it, and your husband is right there, and they just stick it up there. And my husband was like, wow, you guys have to go through a lot. And I said, welcome to being a woman. You're here.
Deb is our stage manager, our editor. He is also our security, apparently.
But I was just like...
An advocate.
Yeah, it was shocking. And I looked this up. Apparently, they typically do the internal vaginal ultrasound up until like 10 or 11 weeks. So if you have to go in for multiple appointments in the first, What? I know.
Well, I thought they only did it like one time for the first ultrasound just to determine if there was a heartbeat.
No, I think it's because with I'm going to keep saying vaginal because that's what it is.
Well, that's what it is.
I think with a vaginal one, they just hear the heartbeat better. So when it's so small, it's tiny. So even like at 10 weeks, it's not very big.
Oh no, it's like.
But I had to. So
I don't know. I'm just like who knows? I
actually did go up for another. I had like a gazillion ultrasounds when I was pregnant.
So did I. We both had some complications. So
and I think I went back at 11 weeks and it wasn't vaginal. I think it wasn't my belly.
Yeah.
Which I was grateful for because I did not want to have to. It just also, they lube that thing.
Yeah, they do.
So much lube.
Well, would you rather them not?
No, I'm not saying that, but like just so much is going in there.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfy.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. But I just didn't expect that.
I remember my first ultrasound, the vaginal ultrasound. My husband was there with me as well. And I will never forget the look on his face. So and I was shocked. Okay. So it happened so fast.
Did nobody tell you about the wand?
No, I knew about it.
Oh, okay.
And I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know. I guess I wasn't like as perturbed as you were. But when when they inserted it, don't know how else to describe it. It was literally like all of a sudden, like immediately, there is like clearly a baby on the screen. Okay, like we're looking at this baby, like this little tiny little bean just moving around, and you hear the heartbeat, and my husband and I both went.
It is weird.
Like it's so insane that first time, and it's awesome too. Like,
It
it's
is
so cool,
and I think
you're kind of relieved.
it's also kind of insane because when you have your first ultrasound, you're not showing. Like,
No.
I wouldn't even say
You don't know if you,
I didn't even know I was really pregnant until probably like 5 or 6 weeks. So it's like, I mean, you go in for like 8 or 9.
yeah.
So you don't even like really feel like you're pregnant, or you
Yeah.
don't look it, and so you're just kind of like, oh, that's in there. Oh, okay.
Well, it just makes it real.
Yeah,
and
it
that
does make it
I
real.
think that's really it's surprising, but it's also like
Yeah.
really affirming, and
Yeah.
it just brings. I remember feeling really relieved.
Yes. No, I get
Like,
yeah.
oh, okay, like
Yeah. And you're like, it's there.
it's
yeah.
there, it's alive. Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, you know, they had that whole appointment. And then I didn't realize this. And I had to Google some friends because you do an appointment, I don't know, at like 12 or 15 weeks or something.
Yeah.
But it's just like they just check the heart rate.
Yeah, and then you don't get to see the baby.
No. So I was like,
So I remember being like disappointed.
I
like,
know.
oh, I don't get to see her, and you don't have another like ultrasound where you see your child for a long
until you do the anatomy scan,
if you do it.
which I don't know.
Or does everyone have to do
Okay.
that now? I feel like that's
Here's
like
the thing. I think they do, but my friend is pregnant right now, and she got a bill for her anatomy scan.
Oh, they're so expensive, you guys.
And my insurance covered like all my appointments.
Yeah.
I did not realize that some insurances do not cover the anatomy scan. So if you are pregnant or planning on getting pregnant, check with your insurance to see what they cover, because I didn't even give it a second thought. It didn't even matter.
Dude.
She was shocked by her $700 bill.
Pro tip.
So just always check with your insurance. Even if you think it's covered, just double check.
Or and just know, like, let's say you have a high deductible insurance plan or something like that. Like you might still pay for that ultrasound.
Yeah.
Or you might pay for like 80% of it or something like that. So it just depends on what your plan is. Hopefully you have insurance or you have something to work with. But yeah, it's like the ultrasounds or anatomy scans or that kind of thing. They're astronomically expensive.
Which is why I was really grateful to my insurance, because I think I had 5 ultrasounds when I was pregnant.
I think I had more.
Well, because you did.
So I had, we had some complications towards the end, but like I had the normal scans, but they had me doing additional anatomy scans like throughout, but then I had one like every single week for like the last 3 weeks of my pregnancy. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I was doing like,
But did your insurance cover that?
well, I had met my deductible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter.
Yeah.
See,
Thank goodness.
I was pregnant. My daughter was born in January.
Yeah.
So I luckily did not hit my deductible the year before.
Ooh.
Because I had pretty good insurance. And then in January, I hit my deductible.
Oh,
and I had the whole year to just get everything fixed in my life.
Literally could not have done that.
I know, but I'm grateful that I didn't hit my deductible 2 years in a row, because that would have been
Ouchies. Ouchies.
Anywho, so just saying, check your insurance before.
Yeah.
And I did not realize that some people's insurance did not cover all the appointments, which seems illegal.
It's absurd.
Yeah. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is that, like, there's never really a silly reason to not call your OB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't take it from me, because remember, I'm like the one that was like,
That's true.
I'm not going to call them. I don't want to bother. No, bother them. Bother them.
All the time.
Bother them so much.
Or just like,
especially if you like them.
if you know, I'm like, but like if you, or when you're at your appointment, just be like, hey, this weird thing is happening, or I thought, oh, my amniotic fluid. I thought my amniotic fluid was leaking. I had just peed my pants, but I thought it was my amniotic fluid. And my OB was like, well, let's just check.
Yeah.
So she did an ultrasound.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
And like, one little tip I will say is your brain, like during pregnancy, you're kind of forgetful. You're a little bit scattered. So write down, like if you think of stuff like in your phone, like on an app, like just write down questions that you have as you think of them. Because I'm telling you, people, you will not remember that.
Oh, no.
When you're in the doctor's office. Like you'll just be like, no, I've never had a question in my life.
Well,
like I don't, no. When or go ahead first. You go first.
No, as I was saying is that I remember, I mentioned this before, but like when I started itching all the time because of the cholestasis, I get that itching started Sunday and I had an appointment Tuesday and I forgot about it. I forgot to bring it up.
That's normal.
It's normal.
That's normal.
And I'm just like, how did I not? Like it was just, I totally forgot.
Yeah. No, there were symptoms that I had that were a little bit alarming that I would like forget to talk to my OB about. But then in that same vein, there are so many weird symptoms that you experience in pregnancy. Like some of them are really terrible. And then there's others that are actually sort of funny. And I just have to say this, like, it was almost like frustrating to me, but like, cause I had a lot of weird symptoms that I really didn't enjoy throughout my pregnancy, but I didn't have a difficult pregnancy at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'd go to my doctor and I'd have my list of questions if I could remember them.
And you're like, ooh.
And I'd just be like, Doc, I could have said to her, I could have been like, Doc, I've been bleeding out of my eyes and my vision's all screwed up. And she'd be like, that's normal. Or I could be like, I think my left eyeball is going to fall out of its socket. And she'd be like, that's to be expected. Like, and then it's just like everything. They're like, sorry that that's pregnancy. And you're like, what?
Well, that's why it is important to bring things up to your doctor because sometimes it is that. And other times they're like,
that's true.
They're like, oh no, that's really bad. As non-medical people, we just do not know.
No.
And so.
Yeah. Or like you're probably a little more chill than I am.
Yeah.
But every weird thing that I felt or like thought about, I was just like, oh, this must be really serious. So I would like ask my doctor about it.
Well, and most the OBs have like a portal. You can just, I emailed mine a lot.
Yeah, I ended up doing that.
It was a lot easier than like making an appointment or calling.
Yeah, I just got to hang out with her so much. So I was like, I was just always asking her questions. But also another funny thing is like, I don't know if yours were structured this way, but when you go in for the visit, before your doctor comes in the room, there's always the physician's assistant.
Oh, yeah.
That'll come in. And for like the first few visits, they would be like, are you experiencing any symptoms? And I would just like really start to go in depth with them.
And they're like, oh, no,
and they like barely took any notes. Like, I don't even think they took notes on it.
They were like, ooh,
and then like
this girl.
I think my husband was like, I don't think you need to like talk to them about that. And I was like,
oh. They ask though. They do ask.
But they ask. And you're like, oh, well, actually.
Yeah, they'll be like, is there anything that you want to discuss with your OB today? And you're like, actually.
I'm like, yeah, actually every physical ailment that I have right now.
They must interact. They obviously interact before.
Yeah.
Or like she must put it in notes or something.
Well, yeah, they literally are like entering all that data into the chart. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they also go through like every single medication that you're taking. You're like, nothing's changed.
Oh, here's what you will not say your birthday anymore in your life than when you are pregnant.
Yeah.
Every time.
If you can remember it.
Every time you call, every time you are at the appointment, every time you need anything, they don't ask you for your name. They go, right. Well, they do. They're like, what's your name? Blah, blah. What's your birthday? Before you even, you could be panicking. And they would say, what is your name and date of birth? Before they will answer anything.
Yeah. It's like, that's all they need to know. And then you have your kid and you're like, I can't remember what my child's date of birth is because I'm delirious.
Yes, and
I like actually could not remember her birthday
it happened
for like a while.
I could remember her middle name, and it was a really awkward conversation with a stranger one time. So I'll tell you what.
Wait, you need to share that right now.
Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, so I do not interact with moms very often, just randomly. But my daughter and I were at a park. And I was pushing my daughter in a swing. And I was talking to this woman next to me because she was pushing her son or daughter in a swing too. So we were talking about names.
Okay.
And I forget her name, but it was like a fairly normal name. Mm. And she was like, yeah, I really wanted to name. Well, then she asked, like, what's your daughter's name? And I said, blah, 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 blah. And somehow a middle name came up, and I said, I do not know her middle name. Do not know it.
Did this woman look at you like...
Oh, yeah. But to be fair, I did not want my child to have a middle name. I wasn't very much against it, but I just didn't care. So my husband picked her middle name. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I know it now because of that awkward interaction. Anyways, but it keeps going. I could not remember her middle name. We kind of let it drop, and I could tell she was judging me. But then we were talking about her kids' names, and she was like, yeah, I really wanted to go with like more natural names like Forest and like Emerald or something, whatever. She's like, but my husband was kind of against it. Okay. Well, no, she did. She said, I really want to go with like natural names with like River and Emerald or whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then her husband walks over and she goes, oh no, sorry, I'm like butchering this, but she said, I wanted to name them natural names, but my husband said it would be too hippie. So we're not going to do that. So I said, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Cool, cool, cool. And then her husband comes over and she goes, oh, here's my husband, Forrest.
Wait,
I said,
his name was Forrest.
yes. And I thought
were you like trying, did you laugh? Like, did you think she was
definitely
joking?
chuckled. I thought I was being pranked. I thought that they had this whole thing set up.
Where's Ashton Kutcher?
I know. It was like the weirdest interaction. All about names. Just about names.
Oh my God.
So I picked up my daughter's. Nice meeting.
You're like, also my date of birth is.
So my date of birth is. And this is why I don't talk to people at parks ever. Because the one time I did, it was the most awkward conversation of my life.
You're like, I haven't been back to a park since.
I haven't talked to a parent at a park since.
Stop.
And that was about 8 months ago.
Oh my gosh, Ashley.
So if you see me at a park, I most likely will not talk to you.
Actually, if you see Ashley at a park, please go talk to her.
I just am so awkward.
Please go talk to her.
If I would remember my daughter's middle name at this point. But I hate when you're filling out paperwork for your child and they're like, date of birth. And you're like, my date of birth?
My date of
my
birth
child's
or
date of birth. Like,
yeah.
they do not clarify
like
anywhere.
who is the patient?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyways, we're so off topic.
But anywho.
Prenatal visits.
What? I kind of talked about mine. I mean, I feel like there was, here's the other thing about prenatal visits. The diabetes thing.
Gestational diabetes. The diabetes.
No, they make you drink that stuff.
Oh my God. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. They test you for gestational diabetes. And I remember I was really nervous for mine. And like they gave me like the drink that I would have to drink, but they give it to me like they give it to you like a week or two before.
Yes, and I told my husband, like, don't drink this.
You have to like,
not that he would,
like
but
you would. You have to like put it in your fridge, and you're like, I hope I remember the directions or how to drink this.
Just basically chug this sugar.
Yeah, and like this syrup water, basically.
It's so gross.
But I remember just being so nervous, like about what I was eating before I did it, or like before the visit. So like, that's another thing.
Okay, I don't think you're really supposed to eat.
No,
like within 4 hours or something. I don't know what it was. I forgot.
My doctor was like, no, you can eat. Just don't eat anything that's like sugary. But again, like ask your.
I do not remember. Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember being like so relieved once that part was over. Yeah.
They, at my OB, they gave me an orange flavored one. And I said, do you have fruit punch?
Mine was lemon lime.
Well, they said at the other office they have fruit punch. So I drove to the other office.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You drove.
I just don't like artificial orange. I think it's disgusting.
Oh, I don't like artificial banana.
Well, okay, they're not gonna have a banana one.
Well, I'm just saying.
You're like, I'm talking about things we don't like.
Well, if we're talking about flavors.
Well, you can, like, depending on your OB, you probably can ask for a different flavor if they have it.
I mean, I guess. The other thing that I feel like we should warn people about, and I feel like maybe this is a given, but I just didn't realize how many urine samples I was going to have to get.
Oh, a lot.
Like, always make sure that you have to pee. Not that it's going to be hard to pee.
No, yeah.
But just make sure that, like, you drink water before your appointment, because, like, I remember sometimes being like, I don't know if they're going to get a urine sample with how little I did.
Yeah.
And the other thing that shocked me was, like, how much blood gets drawn.
A lot.
And, like, I remember I would be, like, sitting in the chair, And I'd just be like talking to the lady like, yeah, like how's your Tuesday going? Because I was like, I can't watch, I'll pass out. I like cannot watch. I can't watch.
My place was great because in the place where they take your blood, they have like a little couch and they let you lay down.
They let you lay down?
Yeah.
This one was like, I mean, the chair
wasn't
like, it wasn't uncomfortable, but I'm like, a couch would have been nice.
Oh, it was really nice.
They were probably like, these women won't get up if we get
I'm like, I'm gonna fall asleep right here. Oh my gosh, I had something else that was an appointment thing.
Yeah.
There's just like really, here's my biggest advice too. I don't know how all OB offices function, but I love my OB so much. I recommend her, literally anybody. She is always behind. Always behind. No matter what, she's behind.
Oh, really? Mine was usually on time.
I would say, if you can, make the earliest appointment of the day.
Amen to that. Because
earliest appointment.
Earlier in the day.
They can't get behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whenever I made
brutal.
an appointment,
Right.
I said, do you have a 7 o'clock appointment? And they said, we're not open at 7. So
7:30?
7:45 is usually.
I remember it was brutal because you're so tired when you're pregnant. But if you're working or like your schedule's kind of wild, grabbing that earlier appointment, it really just does knock it out.
And like, to be fair, my OB was at 2 different offices. So at one office, she was always behind. The other one, she wasn't as behind. So it just really kind of depended. But still, I would really, really recommend, if possible, choose the earliest appointment that you can with your OB.
I agree.
Just because and the other thing I didn't know is that when you do have your anatomy scan, so the tech does the anatomy scan, and then you have to meet with your OB separately. So you don't actually know any of the results right away. Your OB has to look at it. So it's like almost 2 separate appointments, actually. It's in the same day typically, but it's 2 separate like timings that they set you up with.
I forgot about that. Yeah. And like, I do remember the anatomy scan. I don't know. Were you nervous for your anatomy scan? I was so nervous for the anatomy scan. But it's a mix of feelings because there's this rush of like, wow, we are literally looking at like the bones and the measurements and like the organs of this child. And it's so insane. The technology they have is so insane. And it's come so far, and the imaging that you get is unbelievable.
Well, it's crazy too, because like the technician is just over there, they're doing her thing.
Well, I would just ask. We would chat with them the whole time.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, there's a heart, there's the lung, there's the kidney." I mean, like I couldn't really tell.
Yeah,
I mean, you can kind of see, but it's
like after a while, I had have so many anatomy scans.
I'm sure, you probably
that after a while, like Ryan and I kind of started to realize we could recognize a little bit of what we were looking at, but I don't know. And you get different techs for every
that is
single
true.
scan. So it's not like you build a relationship with these people.
No.
Yeah. And I also felt like the doctors for the anatomy scans rotated a lot. So I never had. Yeah, I think
I only ever saw my OB.
Yeah, so I guess it just depends on how your healthcare system is structured and what hospital you're delivering
and what practice that you're going to for your prenatal care.
So all of this can look wildly different than our experience.
I mean, obviously we have a different experience and we live in the same city. And we just have different practitioners.
I can't remember if we delivered at the same hospital or not, but
I think we did.
I think we did.
Yeah. We just have different, like,
we have different
practice.
practitioners.
Yeah, the practice that they're in
100%.
is just very different.
Yeah. But those were just like a few of the funny surprises and I guess tangents of this evening discussion here.
Of our prenatal visits. Yes. Again, we would love to hear your experiences. We would love to hear just any questions. I mean, if you have any questions about anything we talked about tonight, especially if you are thinking about having a kid, pregnant right now, any of those, we would love to answer them or just talk through more of that with you.
Yeah.
Again, we're not experts, but we do have a lot of thoughts and we do have a lot of experiences. So yeah, it's just kind of, it's fun.
Yeah, not medical experts, but we got a lot to say.
Yeah, we do have a lot to say, yeah.
We also just want to laugh about this stuff because it's ridiculous.
Like, all of
okay, ladies, it's ridiculous.
All of it is.
Yeah, we have to talk about it. So,
but yeah, so follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube and Spotify.
Yep.
I'll put all the links below, and yeah, thanks for listening.
yeah, we'll see you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
Thanks for watching the episode. If you made it this far, we think you would really like these other episodes as well. Check them out. Oh, and subscribe as well.